Alright guys, welcome back to another Master and Apprentice video and podcast. As you guys can see from the title and thumbnail, yes, it's already that time of the year. We're going over upcoming 2026 LEGO Star Wars rumor sets. Some of these have more information than others. That's kind of the way this always goes. And again, a lot of these are just rumors, so none of it's factual. The prices, piece count. But a lot of these you can guess to be pretty close. It's not very often you get rumors, this close, especially October, November, and they're way off. Usually they're pretty close. So starting with that, we're gonna go over everything that we know for January, and then March, and then so on to later the year that we know. We start off with set 30727, the TIE Advance Polybag. Doesn't say polybag, but you can expect it to be a polybag with 68 pieces, and it's gonna be $5 coming out January. So it's gonna start off with a polybag. We usually get 2 polybags every year, but then with that we go to set 75436, the Mandalorian and Grogu speeder bike. It's supposed to be $10 with only 58 pieces. Again, coming out January. Now it doesn't say it's 4 plus with 58 pieces though. It's very interesting. It's not very often you see a lot of small play sets under $20 anymore. So it could just quite literally be a speeder bike with the Mandalorian and Grogu and only be 58 pieces and $10. Or we could be missing information and be a 4 plus set. This one's yet to see. We might be seeing pictures soon. Maybe by the time I even edit this, we'll see some pictures. But until then, we don't know the exact details about this one. Then we have set 75437, Cobb Vanth Speeder. It's going to be $35 with 207 pieces. Again, coming out January. This one is going to be from the Book of Boba Fett, I believe, or Mandalorian Season 2. I'm not quite sure. Pretty cool. Then we go to our next January set. We have set 75440, the mini scale Hoth AT-AT. $65 with 525 pieces. So finally, they kind of said it's not MIDI scale. They called it the Starship series, so it wasn't MIDI scale, but it was kind of locked in with starships. But we see they're kind of finally branching out of that, as the AT-AT is on the Starship. What? All-terrain armored transport. So it's just the land vehicles, but it is our first outside of the starships to be MIDI scale. So pretty cool. $65. It should be pretty good size, I think. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it compares to the rest of the starships. Then we have set 75439, the Darth Vader bust, another 18 plus set. It's going to be $60 with 349 pieces. Again, very interesting. They've done the helmets, but with Darth Vader's helmet officially retiring at the end of this year, it makes sense that they would put another kind of Darth Vader, as he's probably one of the most iconic helmets characters from all of Star Wars, besides maybe Yoda. I don't know. But Vader's, kind of one of those guys you always want on shelves, so it makes sense essentially replacing the Darth Vader helmet with a Darth Vader bust. A lot of these other lines, like Marvel, have been doing these busts, so it makes sense that Star Wars would kind of dip their toes in the water. They've done busts in the past, long past, never really crazy popular, so we'll see how this one takes off. Then we have set 75441, the mini scale Venator, $79.99. 643 pieces. Again, they said it was going to be Starship. We saw the AT-AT is not going to be only MIDI scale Starship, but this one kind of fits in. It's interesting that it's coming out this year, not last year or the year before, when we had just had the UCS Venator come out. They put out the Acclamator that just came out. I think it was last year, maybe it was the year before, but anyways, it's interesting that they didn't bring the Venator out then. But either way, we're getting it now, so pretty cool. That's also coming out in January. Then we have set 75443, the Grogu's Homestead, but said to be $20 with 107 pieces. I mean, personally, I don't know what this one's supposed to be. It's a 4 plus set, so it really could be anything. I don't know what the Homestead perk could be. Who knows? Probably just a cute little set for, obviously 4 plus. But Homestead, Grogu's Homestead, I don't know. Very interesting. I don't know what that one's supposed to be. Let me know down in the comments if you guys have heard or you have any speculation on what that's supposed to be. Then we have set 75449, the Siege of Mandalore Battle Pack. It's supposed to be $22.99, so $23. 116 pieces, again coming out January. This one I think is supposed to have half and half Mandalorian, half Mandalorian, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's what it was. I know it's not supposed to be full Mandalorians, but I do know the Mandalorians are included. There's been some early images of the Mandalorians in this, and I believe they're new prints and helmets. So very, very cool. Very exciting. The battle packs are always, I think, one of the more popular sets for LEGO Star Wars. So very excited for that one. Then we have set 75448, the Clone Shock Trooper mech for $15. Again, interesting because they're usually $17 for Star Wars. So maybe they finally decreased the price, because every other line that LEGO does are $15 for their mechs. Even, Marvel, DC. So it's interesting that Star Wars had it at 17. So I think maybe they got enough scrutiny and they just finally decided to bump it down. Who knows? It's gonna have 151 pieces. I'm pretty excited for this one, as if almost, I guess Maul doesn't count, but almost all of the mechs we've gotten so far are OT. I guess Maul is the only one that isn't OT, but Maul kind of spans. He's in every pretty much chapter of Star Wars, from Phantom Menace all the way to the Rebels, so you could guess kind of count him to OT. But Clone Shock Troopers, like the first official Clone Wars era, so very, very cool. Then we have set 75452, the BB-8, $90, 569 pieces. It doesn't specifically say here in the notes, but I'm going to assume this is going to be one of those buildable characters that's more on par with the size for R2-D2, Chewbacca, C-3PO, Chopper, probably similar to that size. And it would make sense this one's only $90 because it's the smallest of all those droids. So very cool. I think, I'm glad we're getting it. It looks like we're not getting as many of these buildable characters. Last year we had like 5 of them. I've only seen 1 so far. We have a lot of sets not actually dedicated to names yet, so we could obviously get more. But BB-8's one that we definitely should be getting. So very, very cool. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's the last of the January wave. Now obviously these dates can be moved around, but if I'm not mistaken, that's the last official January date that we have. That brings us to March sets. We've got quite a few. A lot of these are to be announced, or more details are needed. We have pretty much all the set numbers and prices for most of these. So we'll give that at least. Then we have set 30728, another poly bag. Obviously, going to be probably around $5. We don't have a date yet for it. It looks like maybe March, maybe around May 4th. Usually they do a lot of May 4th poly bags as well. So it could be around then as well. No piece count. We don't really have an idea. I'm thinking maybe something from the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, as that comes out next spring. So it could be from something from that film, but we have yet to see what that is. Then we have set 75420. No details on that yet, besides it's only supposed to be $40 with 215 pieces, and it's a 6+ set, so it's not quite a 4+ set. Again, this one could potentially be Mandalorian Grogu oriented. It's said to come out on March, so who knows, but there's no name or details given out for that set yet. But with the piece count, I'm sure we'll hear about that one soon enough, but at this time of recording, there's no details on what this set is yet. Then we have set 75421, Darth Vader's TIE Advance. It's said to be $60 with 473 pieces, coming out March. And I'm going to pair this one with set 75423, Luke Skywalker's X-Wing, for $90 with 584 pieces. Also coming out March. Now, if I'm not mistaken, these two sets are supposed to be the first LEGO Star Wars sets with smart bricks. I believe we're supposed to get more this year, or next year technically, 2026, with those. But these are the first to come out. And essentially, there's some electronics, I don't know specifically, but essentially you're supposed to use the minifigures and the bricks and the build, and they make sounds, right? And it's something that they're new, just introducing to all of LEGO, but definitely obviously new from LEGO Star Wars. So it's a little bit pricier than we've seen for these sets in years past. For these to be almost double in some of these prices, it's a bit crazy, but that might explain why. It's because they're introducing some new technology, quite literally, with these sets. Then we have set 75422. No details on what that set actually is, but we know that it's going to be $70 with 440 pieces, coming out March as well. Then the next couple sets are no details. We just have the set number, prices, and pieces. So I'm not going to explain. We don't have details. I'm not going to speculate. They're all coming out around March, so they could be Mandalorian and Grogu sets. It could be something completely different. Who knows? But it's going to be set 75424. It's going to be $50, and it's going to have 347 pieces. Then we have set 75425. It's going to be $80 for 666 pieces. And then we have set 75426, $100 with 885 pieces. And then we have set 75427, $160 with 962 pieces. So what any of those sets are, I don't know. All the details I gave are what we have so far, at least at this time of recording. All those are supposed to be coming out in March. So we'll see if any more details come out anytime after that. Then we move to some May sets. Set 75438. It's going to be the Yoda bust. It's going to be $50, 399 pieces. So we mentioned earlier the Darth Vader bust is coming out in January 2026. Looks like we're getting another bust later in the year with Yoda. And like I mentioned, it kind of makes sense they're starting with some of these more recognizable legacy characters. They're just the most sellable characters. Someone wants something that's Star Wars they could put on their shelf. Yoda and Darth Vader are like the two biggest characters, maybe R2-D2 as well, but those are some of like the most iconic characters from Star Wars. Then we have 3 more sets that are coming out in May. Well, technically 4, but the next 3 are all supposed to be Mandalorian Grogu sets. So that's why it's kind of weird that a lot of those March sets are unknown, because it could be Mandalorian Grogu sets, but these ones say they're Mandalorian Grogu, like from the movie. We don't know what they are obviously yet, but these all say that they are, but we don't know obviously what they are yet, because they're not going to announce, they're not going to leak that kind of stuff. We don't want too many spoilers, but what we do have is the set numbers, pieces, price, all that kind of stuff. Set 75445, Mandalorian Grogu set for $75, it's coming out May. Then we have set 75446, Mandalorian Grogu set for $130, and then set 75447, Mandalorian Grogu set for $150, all coming out on May. And then we also have another set, 75444. It's supposed to be a 7+ set for $45 with 297 pieces, coming out in May as well, but there's no what the set is, nothing like that leaked. And we have a couple of sets supposed to coming out June. Even one of these says July, probably June, leaking this early. But we have set 75459. No details. It's supposed to be a 14+ set though, coming out July supposedly. Then set 75460, set 75461. Both of those sets are coming out June, and it's supposed to be Mandalorian Grogu sets. So a lot of the sets coming out in March we really don't know much about. The more I think about this, it doesn't make sense that we'd have so many of these be Mandalorian Grogu sets in May and June, and then have a bunch more in March. But it's possible, right? We've seen in years past when they have a movie coming out that year, they just almost dedicate everything in the line to that, which wouldn't be the first time Lego Star Wars does it. But I don't necessarily know that means that's what they're going to do as well. So we'll see. A lot of speculation on what some of these sets could be. Obviously, this is pretty much only, I'd say, 2/3 of what we're getting. We still have everything in August, and then a couple sets here in the fall as well, but much too early, as those are more than a year out at this time. So very cool, very exciting. Not a lot to go off of obviously, but the few sets we do have rumored and leaked are, I think, a pretty good lineup so far. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. And you know, I got a lot of these sets coming out in March, could be anything, so let us know what you guys want to see, what you hope we see, all that kind of stuff down in the comments. And with all that being said, don't forget to hit that like, don't forget to hit that subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.